Alright, good day guys. This is the all-new Aston Martin DB11 V12 twin turbo. Wow. Now, all new in terms of the fact that this car is literally all new. Like, this is the car that Aston made to make way for the new generations of Aston. So everything in this car is very new. This is exciting because the DB we haven't really heard of in a while. I haven't really made one in a while, a new one that is. And it's kind of a welcome news because it is their flagship car. It is not their flagship sports car, but the DB has always been the flagship Aston Martin car. Now, within a few minutes of driving this car, you automatically know for sure that this is a GT car. This is not a sports car. I mean, the way the size is, the length, the width, just the overall comfort in this car, you know that this is not their sports supercar series. That belongs to the Vantage. This is just the Grand Touring car, and it feels like a proper Grand Touring car. It's just so comfortable, it's so quiet, it's so plush. There's just something about the design of the Aston Martin that makes it kind of desirable. I feel like it's that epitome of a sports car kind of look. The shape of it, the way that the curves and the lines kind of flow over the body. That long nose, short rear, something of that Jag E-Type and F-Type kind of look it's just so desirable. I think Aston's always been very successful in creating that plain sheet of paper folding sports car shape, I guess. And the DB11 does not disappoint. It sticks to that philosophy of what an Aston Martin should look like, just on steroids with this massive rear fender. But the thing I love about the Aston at the core of it is that it creates a car that's subtle, that's a bit underappreciated in a way. I mean, it doesn't shout, hey look, I'm a supercar. It doesn't shout, hey look, I have a V12 engine. It just looks so composed and not flamboyant on the road. It's just so balanced and has this sort of elegance to it that you think a British car should have. It just fits it so perfectly. Now, the one thing that I've never liked in an Aston is a big spoiler. I think it ruins the whole flowing, natural shape to that Aston design. And I think it's really smart what they've done with this car. They call it the Airblade, but you can see this floating C-pillar in the front. Now, what that does isn't just pure form. It's actually functional in a way that the air draws through the tires into that floating C-pillar, creates this massive swooping air through the side, and that swooping air goes into the rear blade as well, the rear fender, and that creates downforce. So you're not really needing downforce from a big spoiler, but you still get an active spoiler that goes up automatically anyway. Alright, now let's talk about the interior. Of course, with any British car, the interior is very important because with a lot of British sports cars, the interior is what makes it so luxurious. They tend to put a lot more over-the-top materials in it than all the other car manufacturers. You can, as soon as I sit, you can feel the luxury, you can feel the plushness in this car because there is no plastic. Okay, let's just say that. Plastic is very minimum. With a British car like the McLaren that we drove last week, you see that the leather dash was everywhere, everything was well made, and then you see the carpeting covering instead of plastic on the door seals and all that kind of stuff. With the Aston, it's a bit different. Everything is leather and everything's metal. You can feel the whole dash is just bounded by leather, and a very, very nice high quality leather at that. The cluster hood is leather, even the LCD is wrapped in leather. The center console is trimmed with high quality metal, very well finished, and then just to kind of like finish it all off with a wooden kind of trim, and it's real wood at that, not wooden style. And it's not even like sealed or covered wood, it's literally raw wood. It feels amazing, and this is what a luxury car should feel like. So the whole look of the dash, the whole interior, it's just a nice place to be in. It's a nice place to drive from. And the leather, the smell of the leather and smell of quality in this car is just amazing. The one thing I hate is actually the steering wheel. The steering wheel, it just looks ugly. Like, it doesn't look like a very sporty kind of steering wheel. It looks very weird and truck basis. It's square. It's a square kind of design. It's just horrible. But the good thing about it is that the buttons for the driving mode, as well as the button for the dampener, is in the steering wheel. So it's easily accessible for the changing of the, I guess, the character and the personality of the car itself. Now the engine, the heart and soul of this car. It's a V12, 5.2 litre V12 twin turbo. Now they changed it from the previous DB, I guess, using a 6 litre NA V12 that it's kind of known for, but it didn't downsize into like a V8 or a V10 or something. So it's stuck with a V12 and just added 2 turbos, which is kind of crazy. Now the engine's not, I mean, the engine's pretty powerful at 600 horsepower, but the car is very heavy. So the car isn't exactly that fast of what that engine sounds like. And props to Aston, I think, for making the car sound as good as an NA V12 could sound, even though I don't think it sounds as good as an NA V12, but I think in my head, as soon as you put a turbo, it wouldn't sound amazing, and this car still sounds pretty damn good. Better is that I don't feel a lag in this turbo car, almost to a point where you don't feel like it's a turbo car at all. You forget that it's a turbo car. It feels very progressive, it feels very smooth. It's a very comfortable car to drive into long drive as well as twisty roads, I feel. But the one thing I can feel through just driving around town is the drastic changes between the driving modes. As soon as you change the dampener to the GT mode, which is what they call the normal mode, which is kind of cool, it's so comfortable. You don't really feel like you're in a V12 car. You don't really feel like you're in a sports car at all. You feel like you're in an SUV. It's very supple. As soon as you change it to the sports mode, it changes completely the personality of the car. I wouldn't say it's stiff. It just doesn't have this kind of wavy feel of the suspension. And then you change it from the GT mode on the driving into sports, and then sports plus, and the car just wants to go. It just wants to roar. Now, just a quick fun fact, the tires of this car is actually made by Bridgestone, and I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but they actually made the tires called S007. So I'm super stoked that I'm actually able to experience this car right now. Yeah, wow. I mean, this is crazy. This car has blown every expectation that I had for an Aston Martin. People say never meet your heroes. Well, I met my hero, and I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty happy that it's blown all my expectations, and I think the DB11 is still very much allowed to be called the James Bond car. Had a blast driving it. Thank you again to Trivett Bespoke, Aston Martin Sydney and Lowdown for actually letting me drive this beast around town. I didn't really drive it around anywhere fun driving roads kind of thing, but had a blast just experiencing the whole Aston Martin. But yeah, how beautiful does this look? Anyway, I really hope there's better cars to come after this, because I have a feeling it's just gonna go downhill from now. But see you guys next time in a Hyundai probably.